Happy Friday, everybody. It's time for the Top 5. I'm Paul Catalina, brought to you by Texas Beef House. You know the deal. 365 Sports at bidonbeef.com. I don't need to wax rhapsodic about them, but I will. They're fantastic. We love them. Get some Wagyu beef at bidonbeef.com and texasbeefhouse.com. Top 5 new hot seats. Now, these are not old hot seats. This is not Billy Napier and Sam Pittman and Dave Aranda and everybody who went into the year on a hot seat. These are new ones that have popped up in the first 4 weeks of the season. Number 5. Mack Brown. Now, I would not call this a hot seat per se, but I do think it is pointing in the direction of Mack Brown retiring either at some point this season to give Freddie Kitchens a chance to establish himself as the head coach, or retiring after the year and giving North Carolina a chance to hire another head coach to hit the ground running there. Jamie Chadwell, just do it, Jamie Chadwell. I'm going to keep saying it until it happens. I'm going to put it out in the universe until the universe listens back. But the college football world has changed. Mack Brown is 73 years old. He owes nothing to anybody. He doesn't have anything else to prove. He's one of the all-time greats in this business, and he deserves to go out calmly and peacefully. So I do think that the seat might not be hot per se, but I do think Mack Brown is probably in his last year of coaching, and certainly in his last year of coaching at North Carolina. Number 4. Hugh Freeze. I know this is an Ole Miss gif. I couldn't find one for Auburn. He hasn't been there or done anything notable enough to get an Auburn gif yet. He threw his quarterbacks under the bus last week. When you start blaming players, that's not good. And the other thing that happens when you start blaming players and not winning and not getting quarterbacks, and you're supposed to be an offensive and QB guru, your fan base gets a little upset. Your alumni get a little upset. The leadership gets a little upset. And when those people are upset, and those people are from Auburn who are outside their mind most of the time, you are skating on thin ice, Hugh. Do not dare these people to fire you. They don't care. They're like Donald Trump. They love firing people. It's their whole vibe. You're fired is their thing. They love it. It's their slogan. They're probably mad that The Apprentice took it away from them. They love firing coaches at Auburn. They do it better than they do anything else. You're not above it, man. They will fire you for less. They have fired people for less. It's Auburn. Get right or get out. Number 3, Brent Pry at Virginia Tech. High expectations coming into this year. He's already taken a couple losses, and they just haven't looked cohesive as a team. Kyron Jones has suffered through some injuries, wasn't particularly good this last week, and Virginia Tech wants to be back where they were, one of the better teams in the ACC. They have not been that in a long time. And when you see teams like Georgia Tech playing pretty well, Syracuse has done well, now you have SMU, Stanford, and Cal, who are all varying degrees of good, coming into the league. It's not going to be easier for teams like Virginia Tech when you throw in, they're not getting bad teams coming in right now. Stanford, better than most expected so far. So you've got teams in the league. Pitt's better this year. Clemson's back to prominence. Miami's great. Like, where are your wins coming from? Like, where are these bad teams that you're going to step on anymore to get there? Few and far between for Virginia Tech. So while, I mean, this would be, like I said, a new hot seat, wouldn't be surprised if they start squawking about Brent Pry in Blacksburg. Number 2. The computer just doesn't want to admit that this is a new hot seat. Hold on. I'm going to walk off camera for a second. There we go. Now I'm back. PJ Fleck. A lot of the talk in the offseason, especially from people like me, was that Iowa would be the team in the new Big Ten that struggled to find its new identity. With teams like Oregon and Washington and USC coming in, they had to get better at offense soon. They had to get busy living or get busy dying. And actually, through the first few weeks of the season, it looks like Iowa's adapted fairly well. Now, do they need to get better at quarterback? Yes, but they don't just have a quarterback farm where you can go and pick one up like a pumpkin patch. So what team has not adapted well enough yet? It's not old Kirk Ferentz. It's young PJ Fleck. He has not quite gotten there yet. And I wouldn't be surprised to see soon some talk about PJ Fleck. Just can he adapt, and can Minnesota, what do they have to do to recruit to the new Big Ten, to stay competitive in this conference, which is hard enough to win anyway, not just because of the quality of teams in it, but the amount. There's 18 teams in the league. How are you going to be in the upper tier? How are you going to be a team that's repeatedly in playoff contention, or at least some of the time in playoff contention? Minnesota might be as far off as anybody else in that league right now. Number 1, and here we go again. There we go. Dave Doeren, a guy I think is a really good coach and has done a very good job at NC State. But defensively, they're a disaster this year, and there was thought that they could contend for the conference crown. I think that's out the door now, given that defense. Now, the season's still early, and a lot of things could happen around them, but the point is that they need stuff to happen around them now, as opposed to controlling their own destiny, which is something I thought they might be able to do. Bring in a guy I really liked at quarterback in Grayson McCall. That's not happened. Grayson McCall was injured last week and don't know how long he's going to be out, and they just got shredded by Clemson. Absolutely shredded. Clemson is here, and they are here, and if you want to compete for the league, you need to be here. And they're not there, and as a few years into Dave Doeren, I think he's okay, but the defense is so bad in the state of North Carolina right now, whether it's App State, UNC, or NC State, none of them are tackling. And Dave Doeren is the one I'm most surprised about, because he builds his teams on being physical and full of attitude, and they just don't have that this year with the Wolfpack. That's going to do it for the top 5. That's also going to do it for this week of shows. Don't forget about the pregame show with Craig and Smokey tomorrow. I'll be off in Dallas as SMU welcomes Florida State. I hope you guys have a great weekend. I'll see you Monday.